you talk with Jack out there today, just kind of what he was able to do and him moving around, and then also getting probably a little more work with Cooper as well?
Yeah, they're kind of being safe with him, obviously. But yeah, he was out there being able to throw around. Obviously they had him limited in some things, but that's for a good reason. Again, all above my pay grade, so I'm happy to have him whenever we have him. If not, it's okay too.
But as it relates to your preparation, do y'all prepare with, okay, no different, we're preparing like Dak's going to be there on Sunday?
Yeah, pretty much. Good. You summed it up.
Yeah. You talk a little bit about Cooper, just because we haven't seen him much in regular season games, just kind of what he does well and your comfort level with him, working through him with it, camps.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had a lot of time with Coop, just from where my role was at my first 2 years, running the scout teams and stuff. Cooper's a guy that is able to laser it. He's a good quarterback. That's why he's here. So, I think there's a good rapport there for sure. But we'll see how it all shakes out.
What was Monday like here? I don't know what, if anything, you guys did on the field, but across the hall.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Monday's that Monday meeting is awesome. We did that last year, and it was pretty helpful, just to kind of see how the defensive guys see things. How certain splits affect how they match certain route concepts of different ways, and how teams play certain coverages and how that changes. Super valuable for sure, especially having George on a week like this.
George was the one
Yeah. So that was helpful.
Nothing on the field?
Nothing. Well, we were on the field for like an hour. I mean, it was just to get the blood flowing a little bit, kind of a super light practice. But I was glad we did that before we came out here. Obviously, it wasn't super crisp today, so we got to get back on track tomorrow for sure. But I think having that Monday helped.
Randy was saying that to us that he thought it wasn't as crisp as he said.
Yeah.
What specifically do you think was?
It just felt like going through the motions just a little bit. Obviously in and out of the huddle just wasn't as crisp as it usually is. Just little things like that after a bye week. I think guys are kind of knocking the rust off a little bit. And at this point in the season, we just can't really afford to have a day like that. So obviously I think guys are going to come out and attack tomorrow the right way.
Is that something you guys notice, or is that something the coaches tell you guys in the middle?
No, I think if you're a player, you notice it pretty quickly. Obviously it's the coach's job to say something about it, but it's also on us too as players. So we just got to get it right.
Y'all had a lot of momentum before the bye, winning 5 straight. How key is this week to recapturing that?
The key to this week is just going 1-0. Obviously we're playing with a lot of confidence right now. I don't think that any of the previous success is something to take into a week. I mean, you're 0-0 and you're trying to win one game. Nothing that you've done prior matters in that one game. So I think it's important to wipe it clean slate. Obviously, we had a bye week, so we got to put together some more momentum going into this week.
How much difference do you think
It's a good question. Probably for the older guys, they might feel it a little bit more, but to be honest, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, obviously it's the longest season that we've had, so that'll be an interesting thing to monitor going forward. I don't assume it'll be too much different. One more week, it depends on who you are, I guess. Younger players, I would guess, probably won't feel it a whole lot because they just won't really know any different. Obviously the rookies, this is their first time going through. They never had a 16-game season, so what's one more game to a guy that's never played that? So we'll see.
Can you sense anything that Coach McCarthy's doing to prepare you guys for an extra week in terms of how we practice and how much he's keeping you on the field?
I think he kind of breaks the season up into segments. So this segment is he's kind of taken just a little bit off in terms of some of the workload. And some of that is a rep or two in practice. Some of that is 10, 15 minutes in meetings. Just trying to keep guys' minds fresh, bodies fresh. I think that's really important. He's very cognizant of that going into the season, especially this season being one of the longer ones.
We talked the last week about the meetings you guys have on Fridays. How important or how good are those things that you guys put?
Like our meeting specifically?
Yeah. Like you put, I don't know if you said it was a test or
Yeah.
quizzes you guys.
Yeah, so Fridays is like we do meetings, and every guy has like for those of you that don't know, like every guy has like a certain aspect of the team, whether it's first or second down or red zone or third downs, and they break down film all week. They do player breakdowns and break down film on certain guys and what to expect in certain areas of the field. And one, it's great because it holds everybody accountable and making sure that you're on top of your stuff, because it's your job to relay that to everybody else. And second of all, I think it's good for us to just get in there and talk it out, like as players. Obviously, the coaches go through and break down extensive game plans and give us a ton of really good stuff. But I mean, week to week, there might be tells that coaches can't really hone in on because they just don't have the time to do that. So I mean, you might pick up a tell on a certain guy or a tell on this coverage versus this coverage. So I think it's really beneficial for us, and that's been something that I've really liked, especially on Fridays. I think it's a good end of the week kind of recap. So yeah, it's been very helpful.
Do you have a favorite part of the game plan to be assigned to breakdown? Do y'all switch it every week? What you're assigned?
We kind of switch it up, except for like some of the first and second down stuff. Those tapes are a little lengthy, so they give those to the younger guys. Some of the player breakdowns. But yeah, we'll kind of rotate and switch it up as we go.
How do you get better in the red zone?
Just execution. I mean, it's really as simple as that. We've got ball plays that are putting us in good spots to win, and it's just honing in on those last little details in order to make those plays work. I think that's going to be big for us going forward. Obviously, our red zone isn't as good as we want it to be, so I think there's a lot of room for growth, and a lot of the guys on our team love improving on whatever it is. So I think we've got the right men in the room that are up for that challenge.
Is that the biggest thing to work on offensively, do you think?
Where
you are now, given everything else you've been
I mean, you can't really say there's one big thing. I'm always trying to like sharpen everything. So I don't ever want to get into the mindset of like, hey, we need to do this really well, because then you might slack off on another thing that you just put on the back burner and forgot about. So I think we just have to keep improving as a whole, whether it's red zone, third down, efficiency on first down, completion percentage. I mean, everything. And I think you can't get too locked into one thing, because that's when you lose sight of the bigger picture.
Super closely with the offensive line. What have you seen from Terrence Steele that really has impressed you over these past 5 games, really even before you got the opportunity?
Well, first of all, I mean, he put in a ton of work in the offseason. I like coming in the offseason pretty early, and I think he was in there before I was this year. So, I mean, the kid's committed to the process, and he's had a great offseason, had a great trainer camp, has been able to build on. I mean, you could tell he's a little bit more stout. He's playing with a lot more confidence. So I think he's definitely one of our most improved players, especially for an undrafted guy. He's playing some good ball.
Is it just kind of remarkable how he was just thrown in the fire last season and
Yeah.
was able to take the experience and leverage it for improvement?
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest jump too. From your first year, second year, that's where you're going to see the most improvement. You kind of know what to expect after the first year, and so you know what you need to hone in on and what you really need to work on, whether it be in the weight room or in the film room, how you prepare. Because it's definitely, it can be kind of a shock, especially in the trenches, for a college guy to come in and realize that, like, dude, you're playing against Aaron Donald. Like, that's a grown man. You know what I mean? So it's a different. It's a completely different transition than some of the other positions in football. But yeah, I think he's improved a lot.